Howdy. I'd like to have your business, but they're all taken. But you look like a sturdy sort. If you don't mind getting your hands dirty, I'll give you the best room in the joint. I got rats living upstairs. They done taken over the entire goddamn floor, and there's one monster rat that's running the show. He's a big greasy fucker with gnarled teeth and evil eyes, like some hell-spawned vermin of the night. A few months back, I went up there to clean the rats out with a shovel. You know, bashing their brains out. It's kind of fun sometimes. Anyway, I'm smashing and bashing, and out of nowhere this mutant bastard comes charging. If I hadn't had that shovel, he'd have bit my leg off. He was big as a goddamn attack dog. I gave him a good whack on the noggin, and he just glared and flashed them shitty fangs. I took it upon myself to make a tactical retreat, sealed up that whole floor. I'm ashamed to say that the Rat King has licked me for the time being. If you can slay that critter, I'll give you the whole upstairs for as long as you're here. I'll clean the place up, of course. What do you say? I could have just hired Big Tim for this kind of dough. Just make sure it gets done.
Evening. What do you need?
Howdy. That is great news. You just stay put. I'll have that place cleaned up in no time. Howdy. Most of them are ruthless bastards. Cutthroats out for a quick handful of caps. Not much better than raiders, really. They just act legitimate. How'd you get caught up in that business, anyhow? You don't seem like a bad gal, but then again, maybe I'm not a good judge of character anymore. Shit, we got a true blue vigilante. Ain't met too many. They don't live long, believe me. Most are a little too self-righteous. No offense. All I ask is that you remember that not all of us is bad, you hear? Everybody makes mistakes, and we all pay for it in the end. Sometimes that little voice in your noggin is worse than any hangman's noose, believe you me. You just remember that. I won't dance around the truth like some of these folks. I was a raider back in my youth, and a nasty one at that. Now, I ain't exactly proud of that, but I ain't ashamed either. It was a sure way to survive, not to mention steady access to poontang. Notions of morality and even self-preservation tend to pale in comparison to such matters when you're a young man. Enough years go by, and you start to slow down, though. Take a few bullets, and you're slower still. Unless you're chief, getting old and raiding don't mix. After I damn near got my nuts cut off over a bottle of whiskey, I called it quits. Been here for almost 30 years now. I remember when Pop Jameson ran this shop, sold some mean meat pies. Town had been in place for at least a few decades when I came up here. Rumor was that cannibals started it, but I never saw anything like that. Little bit of trading with caravans, but it's mostly bighorners. They do better up in this climate. Tend to have tastier meat for some reason. The weather can be tough on folks at first, seeing as to how it's a big shock. You get used to it though. Hell, I've come to prefer it. It's too cold for deathclaws and any badass bugs like cazadores. I say fuck those things to whatever hell they came from. My bones might ache a little more, and the mornings are uncomfortable, but at least I won't get stung to death by those fucking devil wasps. When you're young and wild, it's a damn enjoyable lifestyle. Drink, fuck, party all the time. You might die going after a caravan, but fuck it. I ain't proud of everything I done, but it was all we knew. Most were orphans or rejects who had enough balls to fight for a meal. Today you got crazies like the fucking Hades, the Whitelegs, and the Claws, all bloodthirsty lunatics killing everyone they see. Ridiculous. He came in from the east, which is more than a little unusual. Only had a few scouts with him, but I could tell he meant business. Marco didn't cause no fuss, though. Just got himself a shack near the old graveyard and minded his own business. He'd come into town and buy supplies every week. Always paid up front, was polite to everyone. After a while, we just figured he had started over like the rest of us. We all heard stories of things he'd done, but who knows what's true. When word came about all that business down in the Mojave, with you killing Sergio and all, Marco changed. He was restless. More of his old buddies started showing up and camping in the hills. Only reason they didn't cause trouble is because they feared Marco. Not long after that, Randall rolled in with a passel of bounty hunters and some NCR suit funding them. Canyon has become a fucking war zone since. Ain't gonna happen. No way in hell. Most of us still have bounties. And even if we get amnesty, NCR would still use it to void our property rights. NCR wants one thing. Silver. I heard they had money problems since somebody ruined their gold, so they're after the next best thing. To the NCR, we're just an impediment, nothing more. They'll fuck us with a bear dick while they rob us blind. Won't even think twice about it. All right, then.
Hey.
Hold it, baby Bonanza. It's me, Cunty McLean. Cunty McLean, your arch nemesis and worst nightmare. Are you fucking serious? Cunty McLean. I'm Cunty McLean. I've said it 3 times already. Jesus. Any more questions? What else am I supposed to do when I'm talking? Not fondle myself? It was the name my mother gave to me. She loved me very, very much. My father came from a long line of McLeans. That's about it. Really? You don't remember? My cousin, Donald, came out to the wasteland to make a name for himself. He got caught up in some fiend group and ended up getting recruited. You murdered him. You murdered him and you don't even remember. He had the smile of a child and the mouth of a smaller child. It would have been obvious if you hadn't blown his fucking head off. I didn't walk tens of miles just to not kill you. I must avenge Donald. There is. You can stand there and not fight. And then I'll kill you. This isn't the last you've seen of...
Hey there, Cuddy, what'd you do with my smokes? I don't do a goddamn thing with our smokes and probably up your ass. You lying, boy. Where'd you put my fucking smokes? I like my pre-war menthols. Why you gotta keep smoking? Makes me sick to my stomach. I don't like it coughing and gagging. I'm trying to cut hair here. What are you, the general fucking surgeon now? Shut the fuck up. Give me my fucking smokes. I'm gonna make the noise. You think I care about the noise? You don't scare me. I was in the Master's Army. I don't give a fuck about your fucking noise. Oh, Master's Army, okay, you asked for it. Oh, very mature. We got a customer here. Act like a fucking baby. You can stop. La. God, okay, you fucking win. I got your fucking smokes, you fucking asshole. Fucker. Oh, that wasn't so hard now, was it? You just don't have a great appreciation for this beautiful voice. That's why we don't have customers, because you act like a fucking moron. Keep pushing me, I'm gonna walk out that fucking door. You just fucking watch. What you need there? I was a young barber when the bombs dropped. Just kind of picked it back up once I got, like this. It's a real shitstorm for a while, but managed to make my way to New Reno. Got hair for the wise guys till they started getting fresh. Hired Cuddy here as an apprentice slash bodyguard. Weird combination, I know. He helped me stave off the wise guys for a while. Finally, they shot up the place, burned it down, and I figured, well, that's fucking enough. I kinda like the cool weather, so does Cuddy, and since we were basically walking dead men in Reno, we figured this would be safe. We don't have any intricate outlaw stories, we're just kind of lazy slobs who like to cut hair. Good enough? Okay. Hello. Well, I robbed caravans and ate babies, and then sacrificed virgins in the name of the master. I'm just fucking with you. I came here with Cocker to cut hair, and I'm not just to it. Worked with a master that, didn't work out. Kind of a fucking disaster. And worked as a bodyguard. Got kind of tired of getting beat up and shot, so So Cocker agreed to train me if I'd protect his shop in Reno from the wise guys. You know, they were a real persistent bunch. I killed a few, made one guy's head into like this grape jelly substance. Kind of impressive, actually. But they don't really give up. They're like fucking swarm of bees or something. So, yeah, we decided to come here because it's more laid back. I really like the snow, though. I mean, it's fucking cool. You don't get to see that shit much anywhere else. I like fucking snowmen. I really like making them and taking the carrots and little beads and shit. And I enjoy it. And the kids around here are nice. You know, I don't have to break people's heads open. It's a really cool place. Oh, yeah, absolutely. 20 caps, that's it. Just tell me how short you want it. Get you set right up. Bye.
What do you need?
Hello, welcome to Frosthill. I am Brian Jeffers, mayor of this fine town, now serving in my 3rd term. It's a really exciting time to be here. Whatever or whoever brought you here, just know that you're welcome to trade, so long as you follow a few rules. Violence that falls outside the scope of equitable self-defense will result in immediate banishment from the canyon, with no exceptions. With that out of the way, would you mind if I inquire into your business in Frosthill? Perhaps I can be of assistance. Travelers are always welcome here. You'll find accommodations at the hotel just down the street. Nothing like a warm bed after a long trip, right? If you're seeking recreation of a more physical nature, I kindly direct you to our saloon at the end of the street. Please, just let me know if I can help in any way, or if you have questions. Take care now. Great to see you again. We had a sheriff once, but after the last one fell into drinking nonstop, the town just decided to do away with the office entirely. We have an informal militia of sorts, but given the high rate of firearms ownership and the presence of a certain man named Marco, we feel safe enough. A variety of unforeseen circumstances, my friend. I was once a respected member of a community east of New Reno. Had a good life there. When the NCR decided to annex our town, I protested in the interest of property rights, though it was merely a token gesture to aid negotiations. Unfortunately, the Brahmin barons spearheading annexation didn't appreciate my subtle tactics and interpreted it as a legitimate threat. I'm not a violent man, but when some clerk informed me that I was losing my land, I found the man who'd engineered my displacement and shot him. In hindsight, it was unforgivably stupid, just asinine. But when you push a man too far, he will lash out. I had no legal recourse. I had to gather my family and flee across hundreds of miles of hazardous terrain, with bounty hunters and raiders all around. It was hellish. Frosthill saved me and my entire family. They didn't care who I was or what I had done, but helped us without hesitation or questions. It might be damn cold, but Frosthill will be my home until I die. On that note, if the NCR wants this town, it will have to be over my dead body. It has its ups and downs, but at least we're free from outside influence. Marco was kind enough to rid us of the 80s threat. I still don't understand why so many people are out to get him. He's been nothing but good to us since he's arrived. Hell, none of us here can judge the man for having a rough past. Besides, he's not a youngster anymore. Age tends to change people. Until the bounty hunters showed up, he was content to stay shacked up with his significant other, a nice young lady by the name of Polly. I know you've got your reasons, but can't you just leave us alone? Do you even know Marco? Why are you doing this? I haven't seen anything that is remotely in line with what you're alleging. It's hearsay, plain and simple. Damn wasteland myth. Take care now.
Yes. Here's what I have. I was trained by the followers, then opened up a practice in my hometown, Bishop. It was a good life, until my wife died suddenly. Brain aneurysm. I picked up a drinking habit not long after. It started to affect my work. One night I botched a delivery. The mother and baby died. I was nearly lynched. Surely would have been hanged or shot if I'd gone to trial. I managed to slip out of town before the sheriff could find me. So, that's what brought me here. I like to be upfront about my past with any patients. Sorry if that was awkward. I quit drinking years ago, so you don't have to worry about me sawing off the wrong limb or anything.
How can I help you? A little bit of everything. Here's what I have. How can I help you? Fucking bear chased me here, same as damn near everyone else. Would you believe I was in their army? I was a fucking patriot, no less. Back home? Funny. I still call it home now. Everybody waves the flag and roots for the troops, but they don't know the truth of it. Seen enough war to know that nations are just an extension of a man's worst impulses. Control, greed, hate. That's what fuels the machine. Did things I regret. Told myself I was doing it for my country. Made me go to sleep easier, but it didn't stop the nightmares. Only time does that. Years ago, I was a radio man in the Bears Army. Took part in dozens of operations in multiple theaters. It was a bloody business. Probably would have stayed in for 20 if things hadn't gotten all fucked up. We got a new captain during one campaign. An absolute fuckwit. During one sweep, the psycho fuck of a CO ordered my unit to wipe out tribal kitties. I was the one who would relay the order, so I refused. In principle, you have the right to refuse an unlawful order. But in practice, Saying no to an officer is a ticket to the clink, or a firing squad. CO pulled a pistol, told me to issue the order or he'd shoot. I voiced the order on a dead mic. Soon as he lowered the pistol, I went for him. Fighting is hairy enough when there ain't no loaded pistol involved. But let me tell you, that was an ordeal. He was big. Damn near had me. Wasn't until that pistol went off in his chest that I was clear of him. He had just about choked the life out of me. There I was, a lowly corporal standing over a dead captain. I wasn't going to let some bunch of officers on a jury decide my fate. There were bounty hunters, assassins, and the like when I ran, but I got clear of them. Eventually. Been here 15 damn years. Had a wife and 2 daughters up here, but she up and left. Said she was tired of the cold, was heading back to California. She writes sometimes. Over a million was head over heels for that gal of his, Tammy. I never had nothing like that. Ours was more like a business arrangement. Life is short, and kids is as close as you can get to immortality. Figured, since we like to fuck, that we'd go on to the next stage of things. Ain't romantic, but hellfire. Who's got time for that sort of nonsense? Next week we could be Yao Guai shit. Or worse. So, no use ruminating on it. See you later.
What do you need?
What can I do for you? You got it. What can I do for you? My story? Well, I came to Frosthill looking to spread the gospel and save the souls of all these villainous bums. You should see your face, stranger. I can't tell if you want to run or reach for a weapon. Relax. I'm not having a fit or anything. You'll have to forgive me, seeing as to how I don't have many newcomers up and ask me about my background. Just seems a little bit odd. If you must know, I came here after a minor legal dispute. Settled down and opened up this fine establishment. Not much else to say. What about you? What's your story? That's a good one. You're not joking, are you? Nice. A veritable psychopath in our community. This will end well. Look, if you need any repairs, stop by anytime. Good luck to you. What can I do for you? About 10 years ago, I was working as a smith and doing general repairs near Sacktown. Most of my family had been around there for ages. Most of my kin were farmers and the like, minded our own business. I was very close with my big sister, Kate, who was studying with the followers. She was hoping to become a doctor, so she helped out in their clinic. One night, a drunk rager came in for stitches after he had busted his head. Kate tended to this ranger, a guy named Daniels, who had it in his head that he would pick up Kate then and there. She would have nothing of it. Everybody said he got loud, belligerent, threatened to kill her if she didn't agree to date him. Followers threw him out. When Kate left the clinic, she never came home. They found her corpse in a ditch the next morning. There was an investigation and a trial. Daniels denied everything, pulled rank, stories of his heroism out of his ass during his testimony. Cocksucker walked, got off scot-free. On the way out, he smiled and winked at my family. He laughed as he walked by me. I was younger and more angry back then. The night after he was freed, I tracked him down to his cabin, then waited till he was in his bed. He might have been a badass ranger, but once I got my hands on him, it was over. He wheezed like a dying bird. I squeezed his neck so hard that I felt his spine crack. There were no witnesses. But the law's a bit more efficient when a ranger's on the slab and not a farmer's daughter. They put out a warrant on me, so I ran. And there was a bounty. Frosthill was my only option then. They always told us to trust in the NCR's justice, but it failed Kate. What else could I do? Was I just supposed to be a fucking sheep? What are you supposed to do? What would you have done? Then you understand. You can't put a man in some box and call it civilization. That's slavery, plain and simple. I won't live like that. What can I do for you? Where else could we go? Legion territory? East? My choices are tyranny or chaos. No, I'll stick right here. You know what makes me happy? Seeing my children go to school and able to play outside, free from fear. I'll pay any price for that. I've only seen him a handful of times, but I know he's dangerous. It's how he carries himself. It's obvious. It's like his eyes are always on edge. But all that aside, it's been nothing but amicable in town. Truth is, people are glad to have him around. He keeps out the really bad guys. 80s were looking like they could be a threat before he showed up. Whatever he did before, nobody around here seems to care much, myself included. Last week, a traveler from down south was telling stories about some slave revolt over in Arizona, right outside Flagstaff. Hard to believe something like that could happen in the Legion's backyard, but who knows? It's a bunch of has-been lawbreakers, renegades, and rejects, but it's a community nonetheless. There's an unusual degree of philanthropy, in fact. Outsiders just assume that this is some kind of lawless shithole brimming with vice and intrigue, but it's surprisingly quiet most of the time. Okay then.
What can I do for you? Sure thing. raided for a bit in the rowdy days of my youth until I met the right lady and ended up settling down. NCR still had a price on my head, though. I've been here for over 12 years now. My wife was with me for like 10 of them. It's an imperfect town, but, it's ours. It was hardly any trouble till the hunters showed up, started raising hell going after Marco's boys. Ain't nothing good gonna come of it. You got no idea. First time I saw her was in a frontier town outside of the saloon. Me and some of the crew were in town to buy supplies. She had brown hair that cascaded past her neck, and when she turned and I saw those eyes, tiny sapphires winking at me, I knew she was the one. It was as if she already knew who I was, what I'd done, and didn't care. Right woman has power over a man and can make him forsake everything he is. Tammy was like a cool breeze that calmed my soul. I quit the crew and started honest work in town. Finally got the nerve to talk to her. When she spoke to me, time itself, the very universe, was irrelevant. We had a connection right from the start. Unfortunately, her dad was the sheriff. He knew my background, believed I'd never change, that I'd only put Tammy in harm's way. If I was in his shoes, I might have done the same. He found out that the NCR had put a bounty on my head, so he called in the hunters to run me off. It was do or die, so Tammy and I eloped. She put all of her trust in me, and I did my damnedest to honor it by protecting her, providing for her. Shit, I brought her here to do just that. We had a lot of good years, kind that make you forget about pain, life in general. And then the fever took her 2 years ago. I buried her up in the old graveyard, up near the summit. It's colder up there, but more quiet. I visit when I can. At least I have my boy. Sometimes I wonder if she'd still be alive if I just played my part and kept on raiding. I often hear the question, can people change? But I always ask, should we change? Maybe we're set on a course for a reason. What do you think? No use fretting over it then. Even if we change paths, I suppose that's part of the package. Yeah, see you later.
What are you doing? What's up?
What's up? What do you need?
Bienvenido to the first bank of Frosthill. How may I assist you today? Hey, buenos dias, amiga. What can vos get? Once I was a robber of banks. It was very, very good. It was an enjoyable life full of irony and pity. Until I angered the NCR, of course. Stealing bullion from one of their reserve banks hit a nerve in the great. Oh, so. They sent rangers to kill me, but I was too quick. I have made a good life here since. A cold life, but a good one nonetheless. I believe such cold is a small taste of death, so it makes me uneasy. JJ, so many jokes about it. I just like the touch of money, even the smell. It is like life in the palm of your hands, no? Think about it. You have food, entertainment, travel, even sex when you hold currency. Doesn't matter if it's caps, paper, or that funny Legion gold. You have money, you can do anything. You can be anybody. I sleep better knowing that I have such power. Sadly, I have no family left. I turned ghoul not long after the war, so I cannot make little Vasquezes. Not that it'll stop me from trying, oh, you know. It is such a different world than what came before. Families are so rare, so fragile. It is a blessing to see the little ones here in town. What about you? Do you have a family, traveler? But they are out there, alive, no? Even the thought of them can give one comfort. I will pray for them. Have you heard of El Camaror, the burner? They say that he has a great army in the old deserts of Mexico, and that he roasts captains alive. Barbaro. El Gran Desierto de Altar is not a place for men. It is for beasts and demons. Nothing else. I have heard stories of a great slave rebellion near Flagstaff, deep in the heart of Legion territory, led by a man named Spartacus. The pitiful creatures will probably be crucified, but I pray for them. Ojalá that they can taste freedom one day, even if it is in death. Travelers from the south say a great of the Legion is gathered to attack a place called Firebase Zulu. What a silly name. I recently met a merchant who had passed to a place called Goliad. He told me that the ranchers and farmers are about to have a range war. It is a fine town with magnificent people, every one of them. There are some undesirables on the outskirts, but they keep to themselves. We have a wonderful saloon, though its host is terribly profane. I find his abuse of your language uninspired and not at all artful.